It's 9:45. Oh, 10:45. It's now 10:45 and we're reconvening from our short break. The discussion at present is whether the HOA documentation. My contention is that the votes taken to form us as an HOA were taken illegally or not correctly. I don't think there was a pre-planned intent to do it. I think it's the way it happened. The only declaration I can find that allows us to, tells us how to vote to change the declaration, not the bylaws, not who's the president, not anything else. It says that to amend this declaration, if approved by a vote or written consent of a majority of the membership. So it's the majority of the membership. And even our current, the bylaws that were in effect at the time referred us back to that same documentation. The bylaws are subordinate to the Declaration of Protective Restrictions, all amendments thereto affecting real property described in the fort. And they're referring to the declaration that was filed on the 4th day of October, 1971. And this was in 2009. So in 2009, they're still referring to the declaration that was filed originally in 1971.
Where are you finding that?
Well,
I'm
that's,
talking about.
I've talked to the Attorney General and the Secretary.
No, I don't want that. I want what you're talking about currently in 2009. Where is that? Where is that?
It's in a copy of the bylaws.
We don't have it then.
No, I have a copy that's
Well,
from 99 to 05.
I'm asking.
Why didn't you disseminate that copy to us before the
can't.
board meeting?
Well, I wanted to discuss this, and
How do you discuss it in front of the rest of us if we don't have a copy?
you can have a copy. Mike, I don't want
No,
to
I
make a
mean
decision.
right now. I want a copy so I know what you're looking at.
It's hard to. It truly is hard to discuss something that we can't see, and whether or not your intentions are good doesn't matter because we can't help it. There's nothing to discuss.
And you've had time to get that to us, right?
That doesn't matter
Not-
either.
No,
Well,
I mean,
whether, my whole contention is I don't want to change anything today. I want to present my side of the argument. Y'all can have all these documents, and I would like some more.
I
that-
believe we've voted to table things, haven't we?
Not this.
What are we voting on now?
We're not voting on anything. This is for discussion only.
Okay.
Anyway, they took a vote, and there was only 1,400 and change on people voting. That wasn't there in March 19th of 2002. And there is a stipulation in the original documents that says nothing could be changed until January 2002. When they created the original declaration, they wanted to protect the fort in the far future so that it couldn't be changed for the membership. They couldn't take away, they couldn't change the amount of real property that we had. We couldn't sell all the lots and only have 5 acres left for recreation. That was the intent, it would appear, of the original declaration, that it couldn't be changed on the grounds. The amount of grounds that were available to the members could not be changed till after 2002. And in 2002, it still refers to the same recorded document in 1971. So I suspect there is not another one. I can't find one. There may be one. We may have one, and I would like to see that. But they took a vote in 2002 at the annual meeting. This is the auditors that audited the election. They did it in March 19th of 2002, and it was received March 30th, 2002 by Shirley Hetzel. There was only 1,475 members voting. I do not have access right now to the amount of members that we had in 2002. However, I suspect there was 3,000 of them like there is today, possibly even more. So a vote to change this fort to an HOA by 1,475 members was not even half of the membership. Not even half of the membership voted in that election. Of that, only 1,100 voted to change it to an HOA. And this was recorded but none of the other stuff was recorded. So somebody probably did this in error. You can record anything, just, you can take a ham sandwich out of the courthouse and have it recorded. They don't check down there to see if it's a legal document, they bring it in and they record it. So because it's recorded, doesn't mean that it was done legally, that it was a correct document, it means it's a recorded document. That's why all our bylaws and stuff that we currently use are supposed to have been recorded throughout the years. There should be a recording of every document that we've done to change the bylaws and declaration from the start of the fort. They wouldn't necessarily all be in the bylaws and the declarations now, because once they were adopted and the new bylaws were approved, it would include all the previous amendments. This one, this bylaw that was done in 2009 has several amendments attached to it that they did over the period of years before they actually redid the bylaws. It has it has bylaw changes in 09, 2000, 2002 of them, 3 of them in 2002, 3 in 2004, 05, and 09. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 changes to the bylaws done, and then they rewrote the bylaws to include all those changes. So when the bylaws were rewritten, none of those other documents would be on our website. It would stand to the reason that they're not. However, they should be at the courthouse. They should be in our files. Somewheres, if we approved and passed all that, it would be here. So at some point in time, now it says on our declaration that it's the voting membership, not the whole membership. The reason evidently they wrote the declaration being changed by a majority of the membership would make it incredibly difficult to change the declaration. So a board could not do it on a whim. It had to be a majority of the people that own property on this fort to allow for the change in the declaration, because it could affect them drastically. So it had to be a majority of those people on the fort, not just the ones that felt like voting. It had to be a majority of the membership.
That's the reason you put it on the ballot, because you have the right to vote as a member. You put it on a ballot, and that, you're saying that there was only 1,200 people voted. Well, that's not the majority of the people, so none of y'all are legal up there?
No, it's only-
We sold land a couple of years ago, 40 acres or something. It's the people that returned the vote at the time of voting for that, on that ballot.
The only thing that needs a majority of the membership vote is to change the declaration. Not to vote for officers, not to vote for a free weekend at Coney Island, whatever you want, but to change the declaration. And it specifically states that the provisions restricting membership to bona fide residents of Texas at its discretion to amend this declaration, if approved by a vote or written consent of a majority of the membership. To change the declaration only, you have to have a majority of the membership,
Of Texas?
of the residents of the fort, a membership. The membership.
Then all of us members,
So you
if
say
they
that
bought
only
into
the people who
homeowners association
live
and turn
on the
around
fort.
and sue the fort, because we thought we were buying into a homeowners association. And you have that piece of paper is in all of our documents.
And it's possibly been done, it's possibly not correct. I would like,
So-
I always thought we were a
So
homeowners
what you are
association.
saying is that I can sue the fort
Yes.
No.
for misrepresenting
Sure.
themselves
Sure you can.
to me when I bought property on the fort.
No.
People on the other side can sue too, saying we're not HOA, we vote in.
You're an HOA. Hang on, what's the point? You're an HOA. The IRS has deemed you an HOA since 1975. If you think you're not an HOA, then how can you set up here and serve on something you do not believe in to the institution? Maybe you should step off the board and get a lawyer and sue the fort.
I do have a lawyer, and Sandy suggested that, we should get lawyers to prove this.
No,
Well,
no,
I
no,
did pay for a lawyer. The
Oh,
board
yes.
didn't want to agree for all that, and the board cost the fort $5,000 by being belligerent, not wanting to read the bylaws, just like Art said. If we can't read, to seat Sandy, we read that down there, and our position was, we should do what the bylaws
We
say.
didn't spend $5,000
Wait.
on that.
We got a
Roll,
bill from the lawyers for
That was
5
from your
Gs.
stuff because you wanted to do, we'll get into that later.
Not a thing to
But the
do with
point
it.
is that we had a lawyer, we had Langley and Benak 2 months ago write a ruling if you're an HOA or not. Yes, Toby has written a ruling that you're an HOA. The IRS says that you're an HOA. If you do not believe in the institution, then how are we even here governing this?
I don't believe now that I have questions as to whether we are or are not an HOA, and I would like these papers to show us that we are. We don't need a
okay,
lawyer.
wait, okay, one thing. Sorry to interrupt, but we're saying the same thing over and over again. Just like we are redesigning our bylaws to make them conform to 209, Right now, no matter what our bylaws say, we have to go to 209 first. Because I let you rant.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you
We
have
have
your
to go
checks
to
to
two,
rant.
we have to go to 209 first. And then if it isn't in 209, then we can go to our bylaws. If you read this, this amendment to the declaration was to bring the fort under Senate Bill 507. And under Senate Bill 507, we fit the definition of a homeowners association. This was voted on because we have to vote on it. Even if they voted no, it wouldn't have mattered. We still had to operate under Senate Bill 507. It's like years ago, you vote for something that was clearly against the Constitution and you lost. Well, all this is saying is that they're bringing the fort under Senate Bill 507. It doesn't really matter what our declarations say. The effort to do this was to bring it under Senate Bill 507. Senate Bill 507 clearly says, I'm not even talking about the IRS, which defines us, but Senate Bill 507, let's get to it. Chapter 209, Senate Bill 507 clearly says property owners, definition of property owners association or association means incorporated or unincorporated association that is designated as the representative of the owners of the property in a residential subdivision, which it is, has a membership primarily consisting of the owners of the property covered by the dedicatory instrument for the residential subdivision, which it does, manages or regulates the residential subdivision for the benefit of the owners of the property in the residential subdivision. Goes on to say as to the applicability of the chapter. This chapter applies only to a residential subdivision that is subject to restrictions or provisions in a declaration that authorize the Property Owners Association to collect regular or special assessments on all or a majority of the property in the subdivision, requires mandatory membership, and applies to a residential owners association regardless of whether the entity is designated as a homeowners association, a community association, or a similar designation in the restrictions of the dedicatory instrument. So all this did was to bring us under 507. So I don't understand why we're going back to it, even if the membership wasn't sufficient by your definition, to vote it in, it wouldn't have mattered because we would still be subject to 507 because we fit the definition of 507.
507 is not law.
At the time,
It is.
we weren't
It
under.
is not. It's
Well,
a Senate bill.
and
There was a bill at the, yeah, it is not law.
It's
we-
mute now.
We don't have to
It's moot,
continue
please,
arguing.
M-O-O-T, not mute, moot.
Moot, not
We
moot.
we don't
Please
have
stop
to
using
continue
that.
arguing this here. That's my contention, and I would like to see, and surely we have the documents that prove we did vote in these different manners somewhere to approve this stuff. That's all I was asking
So
for.
you-
And I will share you with all this information here. Again, as you're so fond of saying, I'm not a lawyer. Maybe
I'm not either.
the state requires us to be that no matter what.
No.
But I don't understand that it does. It looks like we would still be a not-for-profit residential community, which is what our bylaws do. It's like he said, our auditor referred us to that. And I think the only difference it makes is whether we have to operate under the current HOA book or not. I don't think there's a big difference.
I think it makes more differences, because we've been conducting business under a particular set of rules. And even though Mr. Baumann says I can't, I think after I get off the board, I can sue you because you misrepresented the place that I was buying into.
No.
So,
Yes. I've already talked to a lawyer.
Oh,
Yes, we can.
don't shake your head at me. How do you know?
Well, and anybody could sue anybody under auspices.
You
The
can
whole
sue.
thing is, I would like to have it proven to us in the membership
How many more do you
legally.
want to approve? We can get another real estate lawyer if you want, and we keep going in circles for 40 more years.
Spend more money.
Yeah, it'll be expensive to prove this.
Well, I don't believe that our previous,
You have to have Roby address you.
go ahead.
Nothing in your documentation, your deed, or your membership certificate says anything about a homeowners association.
Yes, it does.
Nothing.
Yes, it does.
Mine doesn't.
Well, maybe
Your
I
deed
bought,
doesn't. It
maybe
says
I,
Fort Clark Springs Association Incorporated.
Mr. Baumann, I
let's-
have a question for Mr. Baumann. Why don't you want to be a homeowners association?
Because it's more, it's easier, one reason is, it's easier to foreclose under the declaration and the bylaws than it is to foreclose under a homeowners association. They're much more strict.
And they should be, because it,
There's a pre-existing lien on your property. So the fort, under the declaration and the bylaws, can foreclose on a homestead.
All that being said,
that is the
though,
only reason that you're
No,
fighting this?
No, because you're going on, you are a corporation. You are not
So you can get a lawyer.
concerned with HOA or business organizations code or anything.
In
You
other
are a corporation.
In other words, we are, as you said before, incorporated for recreation purposes.
Yes.
Which means that we ought to be shutting up about the golf course and it losing money and all of the rest of
No,
it.
no.
No, I disagree. I
Yeah,
think
it's
we
both
should
ways.
be assessing for that
It has nothing to
particular
do with
thing.
that.
Okay.
You
I think
are,
but-
you are a corporation.
I will share
You
all the
should be
documents I
conducting
have.
business as a corporation.
That's, I will share all the documents I've got with everybody here.
Can we not put this
I
on
would
the agenda?
like to find out, other than somebody said last week we're an HOA, we need to have the paper trail from the inception till now that proves that we have it. And it should be easy to find. I mean, it should not be difficult to find. We should have those documents. We should have the resolutions and the bylaw
Who
changes.
are you asking to find those things?
Staff.
I think
No.
you need a lawyer, I really do.
We already have, and Roby, you agreed to the attorney, and so don't put it off on me. In fact, if I remember correctly, you suggested we go ahead. We voted on it right here, it was a unanimous vote to send this question to our Fort attorney, and we did that. We got a response.
That was exactly the same as the attorney I hired produced.
You know, that
Which
means,
is exactly the same response
That is-
as we, as board members, read over the bylaws, and it says here that if you don't do it by this time, then the next individual should be appointed. And everybody fought that until the last minute. They fought it when your own attorney was here.
we weren't fighting it, we wanted a
So-
clarification. Roby,
But
the
we're-
fact that you brought a personal attorney to the board meeting only puts the nature of conflict of interest to fore. So, I mean, I think that we did what we needed to do as an association. We got an attorney's opinion, he quotes his sources, it's presented here, and I think we need to let this drop.
Well, I disagree, and the attorney had to revise his opinion in there over
But
the
that was-
officers because he wasn't familiar with all the bylaws. I'm not saying the attorney did a bad job, he just didn't do a thorough job, and we didn't request him to.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this was
Again,
for
I invite
discussion
you in to
only.
come to the files with me, sir. Did you read the IRS form? I don't know how much more clear you can get. I can give you the 11-page document on that one.
I
So
guess
next time
the-
you want to come in, I'll be more than happy to
I
sit with
guess-
you in the records room.
Okay, I guess the IRS has never made a mistake in their life, have they?
For 40 years. Oh, my God. There's
Let's
no
not-
God either, is there?
Let's not go.
Okay, let's go to our
That's
next,
our
Fact, we
religion.
need to go back
Un-
through every resolution and every vote and everything else from inception to today.
No,
But
you
only-
don't.
Everything you've done is probably wrong.
only in reference to changing the declaration.
What's the hidden agenda? Why?
Yeah,
Why are we
exactly.
fighting
There is,
it?
it's decide whether we're an HOA or
Well, if we're
not.
an HOA, then every member here on the fort doesn't have to pay their assessments.
Yes, they do.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Carolyn.
Okay, let's go on from this, because this was a discussion.
This is turning into a town hall meeting, and it is.
This is how you like it. Let's keep going.
Go ahead, one more.
One thing, you don't have to go all the way back to 1971, because when Nat Mendelson was here, he was the developer, he held 4,000 votes. So every vote that was taken up until 1986, when he died, he could inject votes into it to make a majority of the membership.
That's correct, right. Okay, we're gonna move on to discussion of workshops and the budget.
Monday, right? 6:30.
Yes. Do we have,
Seriously? Monday?
now, without that being posted, do we have the right amount of time in there?
I would like to see.
It's a workshop.
For the board.
Is this going to be the board workshop, or is it going to be the public workshop?
Board work, should be a board workship.
There is no public workshop, is there?
No,
That's
it's
how
a
we
board
did it last
workshop.
year.
It's a
The
work
board met first to discuss changes and whatever, and then presented it to the membership later. There was two
That's
last
what
year.
we do now.
That's what we wish to do now?
Yes,
Yeah, we're having a workshop.
Board
Monday night.
members only to
Yes.
discuss the budget?
yes.
Can we do that? Do we have to, because it's a meeting of the board, do we have to?
We're not doing any business. other than
We're not
discussion.
taking a vote.
We're not voting on it, we're discussing, putting it together.
You can let them know when we're meeting, but
Well,
it's
it was-
closed.
Today is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If we do it Monday at what time?
6:30, because you can't get there before then.
I got jury duty Monday, so hopefully I'll be out. Jury duty. If we post it today, that'll be sufficient notice, correct?
Are you asking an open meeting or?
No,
No, any meeting of the board, that's what I'm asking. Is not any meeting of the board required to give
Well,
notice?
it isn't a business meeting.
I would say it's a workshop, we don't have to do.
It isn't a business meeting,
We
it's
just
kind of
hold it.
like with the
Insurance?
insurance, yeah.
Would you agree with that, B?
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess we're all in agreement that we're not gonna post on the marquee or on the internet that the board is gonna convene on Monday, the 18th
Mhm.
at 6:30 for a budget workshop where nothing will be discussed other than the budget and no decisions will be made.
Just workshop. We just received it, we're just now looking over it, and we'll talk about it on Monday.
And then a workshop with the members can be discussed.
Right.
But right now, it just needs to be the board to discuss.
Yeah, we will be able to.
Okay, moving on to tax office to collect assessments. This is for discussion. And I suggested that we check with the tax office to collect our assessments and mail out our assessment notices and also handle our foreclosure process. Because they do that now for themselves and they do it for the other end. They mail out notices and collect monies and distribute them to other entities in town, in the county. That is in fact their real job.
You
is
did
they-
not mention the foreclosures part.
Yeah.
Well, they also handle
But
that.
What, you come up with these things, and I'm blindsided, because I didn't know you were gonna talk about this now. Talking about the assessments, that's one thing, talking about foreclosures, that's another thing.
It's just discussion.
Well, I don't have any basis for discussion, but because I didn't have any advance notice that that's what we were discussing.
And I have no particulars, that's why I would like staff, I think the board should direct staff to talk to the tax assessor's office and see what the procedures would be, how much they would charge us to do that, and if it would be beneficial to us or not, and bring that information back before the board.
Have you asked staff what our procedures are and how much it costs us for that one person that does this? Have you had, are you talking about monthly assessments?
Yes,
Because we don't bill monthly,
We don't
sir.
pay money.
Yes, they do.
No, we do not. No, we do not. No, we do not. There's
Bill
nobody
once a
sitting
year.
behind a chair sitting on a bill monthly. We collect, and Renee collects on an average $11,000 to $12,000 a month, and she does CCNRs, and she's architectural. So maybe we should discuss how much her salary is and see how much little it costs us. So maybe, again, I invite you in to come meet with my staff and see the daily operations.
No matter what it costs us, we'd like to know how much it would cost us from the
Why
tax
our
office.
system already works.
Why? We
What's
don't
the
bill
point of
monthly,
changing
what
it?
are you gonna have the tax office do?
They can bill monthly, they can bill
We
yearly,
don't
they
bill
can bill it all.
monthly.
They don't bill the taxes monthly either, they send out a notice once a year.
We don't do that. We do annually. Rihanna sends out coupons. if
That's
we
what
have
once a
any-
year would be, would it not annually?
We're already gonna send it out, but staff would still have to produce the documentation to send to a third party. What do they
They
not?
have all our information already.
No, they don't.
No, they do not.
You don't get a tax bill.
We get a tax bill, but
Well,
we still have
they-
to create a membership list to them.
They know with a membership list.
Really?
Okay, wait, I have a question. What's the purpose of this?
You must have contacted the tax office yourself then.
I've talked to them briefly about it and it said it's available to do. However, I do not know the particulars and I do not know all the questions everybody else would ask or want to know.
Do
Do they
take
send
credit
the tax
cards?
bill to a guy in Chicago
Is
who
the
wants
tax
to
office
remember?
take credit
Yeah.
cards?
For what?
Why would you change a system if I love how you can go and talk to other people, but you can't go and talk to see what your company
For a
does.
fee.
That's what we're doing now.
You are? You come in and see the daily operations. Who's our accounting person?
I assume it's
Who's
Carla,
our
but I
collections?
don't,
Who does
that's,
collections?
I'm not supposed to be micromanaging and being
Who's
the
collections?
The whole thing is,
Wait.
I would like the board to ask the tax office if they can do this and how much they would charge us.
You vote on it.
I actually disagree with that. I don't understand, why do you want to do it? What is the purpose of taking what's been working and outsourcing it somewhere else. You complained because we were spending $30 a month on email service. This is gonna cost us
I
considerably.
didn't complain about spending any money, I asked why we did it.
That's,
There's a difference in complaining.
okay. Well, it's not quite what happened. But anyway, at any rate, why,
the
okay,
point? I
yeah,
don't
what's the
understand.
point? Why do you wanna do this?
The point is possibly it's cheaper and more efficient.
Do you know how much it costs us now for the staff member?
No, how much does
Okay,
it cost?
I can't disclose that, we'll have to do an exec session, because it's a salary.
Well, how much does our total foreclosure, our total billing, all this process cost?
Really, the mail out, the once a year mail out's $1,500 in postage. To get the coupons printed, I think it was $1,300 you spend annually. Other than that, it's whatever, when we send out the 30-day notice that you're delinquent, or your 60-day, or your 90-day.
And you've got the issue of members who pay by credit card or pay by automatic withdrawal from their bank account, whether they want the county, whether they want to shift that to the county, which you would have to do.
And the county did
So-
say, because Rihanna did go in and speak the other day, because we're blindsided by these things, but anyway.
I was asking for something being blindsided. Do I need to
Wait,
ask
hey,
for
hey,
permission?
let her finish what she,
Why
let
don't
her
you
finish
come in
what
and
she.
talk to me and see, hey Jody, what is our process for collections? What is our
I
process
haven't
for?
got an email answer from any question I've asked you, and I don't know when.
Oh, I get, okay.
So go on, let's,
I would
This was
invite
for
you
the-
to come in again. For 2.5 years, I've invited you in.
Okay, Roby, explain to us what you're trying to accomplish by this.
to be more efficient and cost effective.
But we're
And you
efficient.
also,
efficient. What's
we
wrong
are
with that?
efficient and we are cost effective. Your point.
Where's the line that says cost efficient?
The point you made to us in an email was the fact that you were looking to reduce staff by at least one person to do this, and you said that. Now,
We possibly could reduce
And-
staff. I don't know how many people are involved in all this.
You know, we're-
They could do something else.
our staff is running tight now, I mean, they've got more than they can handle. And if the purpose of this is to slide under the ACA requirement as far as hours, it's probably not a good thing to do.
You're equating this with healthcare.
You equated it with
You-
healthcare.
I said plainly, I think the Ford should offer its employees affordable healthcare.
Then now you're talking about reducing staff.
So that we can get under the radar.
Where
Yes,
does,
he did
where
an
does
email.
offering affordable
I know the
healthcare,
Fab 15 are on those emails.
affordable healthcare have to do with reducing staff? Whether we need to reduce staff or not doesn't have a thing to apply to
Okay.
staff that we have with healthcare. But none of that has anything to do with this, and this was to see if we could get something out of our hands and somebody else do it at a better rate than we're paying.
But you don't even
That
know
was
what
it.
we're paying. Why would you come on our side and see what we're doing first off?
Why do you want to argue?
You are.
No, I suggested that we direct staff to find out what it would cost if they can do it.
Well, guys, vote on it to see if the board as a whole would like for me to go seek out an answer from the tax assessor.
That's exactly what this was for.
Okay, great.
There was discussion over to do it.
Yes, call for a vote.
No, there's no vote on it, it was discussion. That's the way you put it down there.
That's the way you put it on the email.
That is your agenda item, Roby.
Yes. I wanted to discuss it and find out if the board would be available to entertain that idea.
I'm not amenable to it.
No, I'm not.
Well, it doesn't matter because we can't vote on it, it's a discussion item.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll move on to, unless there's any more discussion,
No.
then we'll move on to the 15-minute member discussion period. The first person is Art Baker on finance.
First thing I'm gonna tell you is that I'm not a bookkeeper or an accountant. But I know a lot about the finances. I know a lot about auditing. I'm gonna tell you some of the things that were wrong with last year's financial statement and audit. Okay, on page 3, those of you who have a financial statement or audit, you started at $596,242. That's what what Jody said we started with. On page 5, at the end of the audit,
Maybe we could get copies.
it says that cash at the beginning of the year was $472,027. That's about $127,000 more at the beginning than Jody said it would have, if you believe the auditor.
You know, it was in the, I haven't been all the way through
There's 2 or 3 different things in here. One thing is that Cody liked about 11 entities making a financial report to the auditor. In other words, an entity is things that's smaller, but it's the same weight, it should be carried on the financial statement, and it wasn't. Here is one of the deals. The impound fund put $44,011 in the general fund, but they didn't take it out of the impound fund. They didn't take it out of anything. It's just free cash went to the general fund, $44,011. Down below, they put in $42,011 in the impound fund. They didn't say where it came from, anything. They just put it in there. That makes $88,022. Sky, I guess you'd call it.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah.
I think these are things that we need to really, because Jody didn't do that. I mean, the auditors did that. Now, they got information from Jody, but she didn't create that report. So we really, and I've been wanting to do that, is get the auditors to come by and explain their financial statement to the members. But I don't think Jody is, I'm not prepared to answer questions about that, because I've got questions about it myself.
I don't want to answer any questions. I just taking this right out of there. I mean, that's all I'm doing.
Okay.
And that's not near all of it. One place in here was the amount of money in the I've marked online so much I can't find it sometimes, but it says restricted current assets, and it gives the information on all of this of $706,033, and then you take away everything else. This is equipment. You take away everything else, and it amounted to $1,904,154. Okay, on the next page over here, the same thing, identical thing. It's wrong. And it doesn't show where 4,000, I think it was $4,002 and something cents. Came from someplace. We don't know where it came from, but it was never entered in here, and the 2 figures are identical except that. Yet the total down here is the same. So the mistake is, or 4,000 something dollars just came up, and to make the total right, but the total underneath this column is wrong.
We'll have to kind of cut that there, and then we need to get the auditors to address those questions and explain to us how they did their bookkeeping, so.
Well, that's right, but this is wrong, and there's no use letting it go unless you point it out, and then that's just a little stuff.
Okay, well, we'll try to get the auditors down here. Well, we've kind of run out of time here, so I hate to cut you off, but
Okay, I'm gonna do it if you'll just wait a minute. Okay. She started a new column, eliminations. What is eliminations? And I asked my CPA accountant what eliminations meant in accounting. He says it doesn't mean anything. And never used. You don't eliminate anything in accounting. Everything has got a place. So, under eliminations, she didn't have any money in elimination column. That's on page 13. It's all the way back on page 13. She didn't have any money in eliminations, yet she took out $187,416 and put it over here under unrestricted current assets. She put it into the Fort Clark Springs asset account.
okay, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're kind of running out. And those are questions that we need to ask the auditors, and we need to get him there to explain our audit to us. I need to get the auditors down here to explain the audit to us and answer those questions.
Well, I'd like to
'Cause-
explain it too.
Right.
But I'll tell you what it is right now on this and this, and she is the one that made this.
Well, no,
Not me,
she-
Not the auditors.
No, the auditors created that report.
The auditors didn't make this.
Yes, they did. Yeah. They used our books to do it. But
If they did, they sure made a lot of big mistakes.
Well,
Okay,
thank you, and I'm gonna have to cut you short here.
I'm sorry that you don't want me to give the members about $400,000 is missing if you add all these up.
We do, but we need to have the auditors
Sorry
come down
about that.
and explain that to us. But thank you very much.
It's been about 4 months trying to get this, done, and I haven't done it yet. So I guess I'll have to write a letter to the editor explaining the rest of it.
Well, we'll try and get the auditors down here so we can have them address it and show us where the eliminations came from and went to and how it worked out.
If you can.
Thank you. The next person is Dean Ballman.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
There's one thing that everybody in this room is losing sight of. This is a corporation. You are the board members of a corporation. Your sworn duty is to go by the Articles of Incorporation, the Declaration, and the bylaws. It is not to interpret law, whether we are under the BOC or under the homeowners code. That is not your job. Your job is to deliberate on those 3 items only.
Thank you. Ms. Watkinson? Allison Watkinson?
I'm addressing as a member in good standing, but I know it's going to come up in community council. So what I'd like to do is I would like to have the board consider adding, signing out a key for the activity/teen center as well to the membership. And the reason for doing this is that until the adult center, the floor and the space is made available for a safe place for line dancing, aerobics, any other member-led for free activity that benefits members of the fort, that they are able to use the activity center and the teen center. So if you all would consider adding that key as one that can be checked out in addition to the adult center and the green room, that would be great. If we can get it done before our Winter Texans come back, because they are the ones who take a lot, who take part in these activities. And while they're Winter Texans, most of our Winter Texans that we're talking about are actual property owners. So they are paying their monthly assessments, not family membership fees, and yet we get the benefit of no trash pickup from those homes while they're gone. And security does have to make a few more runs and things, but I'd like to see this added just until the time that the adult center floor and space is ready for these other activities.
Thank you.
Wouldn't we agree that security would open those buildings for everybody?
I think we didn't actually add the teen center at that time, but that was the intent later on. We just didn't have people here, organized groups really using that, but I think we need to address that. There's
To
a,
avoid the key situation.
there's somebody here wants to speak about official websites, and I can't read their name.
Scribble in Sanskrit, the language du jour. Okay, official websites. Hurry up and get that thing passed on titles. I just bought Fort Clark Springs on eBay for $1. Now you're in trouble. So you go on any Bing and you see who's officially Fort Clark and who's speaking for us and who's this, that, and the other. Let's trim that list down. Anybody can throw up and say, I'm Fort Clark, this, that, or the other thing on Facebook to other entities. And links from websites to another are dangerous. I hope that that's issues addressed. Whether they want to send up a link to say, this is us, or whether it goes out is another. Which leads into the second line on that, it's called pseudo-entities. So who is officially allowed to set up a website referencing, we are the official something something of Fort Clark Springs? Is it the Fort Clark with the old logo on it, Fort Clark Hysterical Pseudo Corporation Fun-Loving Drinking Buddies Are Us Club? Or is this an actual Fort Clark entity speaking on behalf of Fort Clark? Collections for people collecting money for Fort Clark. You can see little Fort Clark dog park stickers and things around here. Put your little money in, and maybe it'll go buy for something in a jar down the line for a doggy park. Those are still floating around here. Why are we still collecting money on that? And can anyone just throw up a Fort Clark are us? I said, I'm scrolling back on Bing. I saw on eBay, Fort Clark for sale, $1 membership. How many people are out there selling their memberships? I don't know. Who's our official website, and can we put up on that, on our website, the only official website of Fort Clark Springs? Thank you. Don't let anybody else do our talking for us, please.
Thank you. We have Garland Young.
I was going to talk about the tax office collection assessments. Yes, we have, the tax office has a right to collect for assessments. What they don't have the right to do is foreclose on land that people are in delinquency in their assessments. They can foreclose on taxes, but they can't take any of the other process. And that's all I have to say about that. How much it costs? I've talked to a couple of people that sit on the board and said the tax office can charge us as much as they want to because we're not a taxing entity. The other thing I have to talk about is emails that came into my hands and stuff. And I know I'm talking to every one of the board members here. When you took the oath of office, you was elevated to a higher standard of etiquette. And we have people out there, I want to thank the board for giving Jody a raise. We have people out there that got an illegal copy of Jody's contract. Joe Williams is who I'm talking about. And he said that the board give Jody up to an $80,000 raise.
She heard it.
I got the email in my hand. And what I'm saying is, you know, to me, when you're sitting on the board and you have a member sending out copies of emails and to the board members and to people in the members of the board with false information, I think that that member should be admonished by the board because he's not doing us any good. He's making us look bad. He's making you guys look bad. He's putting out false information. It's getting in hands where it's circulating, and that's not what this community is about. And I think that he should be publicly admonished by the board because every one of you guys got a copy of that memorandum. And I think this type of email conversing with the members of the board and the public has to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Woody Garnberg?
I don't think you could stop it, but I did confront them with a lawsuit. I said, well, I'll take it.
I want to thank Jody for addressing the problem I'm about to bring back. On August the 3rd through the 10th, for the first time in 20 years, it's the first time ever I have ever seen the bulletin board blank, with the exception of bingo resumes in September. We should have activities. We have visitors, well, they're not visitors, they're members who don't live here that have been here and said, what's going on? There's nothing going on. There used to be so many activities. Well, we have a person who's in charge of events. If it's too much for them to plan activities, then we need someone that can hire somebody additionally. But we do need activities. How can we expect to attract people as a recreational association unless we have activities? The last thing to go was our potluck. And we thought that would go on forever. And they said, well, it's because Shirley Hanson's not here. Well, who is responsible for hiring people to plan activities? So we must have activities if we want people to come here and enjoy it. It used to be one thing right after another. So that is my concern, is that we try to attract keep our people who are here, who are members, with things to do that are constructive, and the potlucks, the fish fries we used to have, and the recreational committee used to handle that under our director of activities, which was Harold Floyd. But we don't have a Harold Floyd, but we need somebody that will take on that responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But it takes a recreational committee, and there's nobody popping up on the doorsteps to do these events, because they were mistreated and abused for everything they've done, and you don't even have a recreational committee, which is nothing but volunteers anymore.
But Debbie, what are their names, the husband and wife team that were doing
The Griswolds?
Yes, the Griswolds told me that they went in there to the service center one day, and all of their equipment was laying in the middle of the floor. And that's how they found out that there was no more potlucks.
I went with my.
There were 8 to 10 people on it back when I was on it. I'm just saying, you gotta have volunteers to do the work.
They were doing it. They were going in to do it. They were going to put potluck, and all of their equipment was moved in the middle of the floor, and they were told it was done.
What happened to the potluck? Does anybody know?
Volunteers stopped,
The volunteers
went
quit.
hold it.
Well, why
Not
didn't
the
the
Griswolds.
administration take over? I mean, they're in charge.
Administration, your employees have set hours of the deal. You think they're gonna give up every single minute of their day? The
Well,
employees
I-
can't
I-
continue to do.
Debbie, the Griswolds were gonna do it. They were going in there to do it. Come back to them.
I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
But I've been on that committee, and I've worked tirelessly.
I think the
on it.
problem in that case was where it was being held and how few people were attending,
Oh,
so
no,
to
there were
find.
quite a few people.
I would
Well,
do
I
it.
understand.
I would work on it.
The last one I went to was a pretty small bunch of people. The thing is that we're talking in the middle of summer, And boy, I don't want to do anything from August 3rd through the 10th, so I don't know about the rest of you.
We had activities all through the summer, all through the year.
I understand that,
At Myrna, there were no potlucks starting back in September or
and I
October.
understand that too. I think the venue could be changed easily to the adult center, doesn't, you know, it's possible. Other things are possible. It's just that I think the service center was the problem. Service club.
Because
I don't know.
you've got the stove and everything there, that's not a problem.
Shouldn't be a problem.
But the recreation was a board-appointed committee, and if you don't have nobody wanting to work the committee, it's hard to do anything. I don't know about the statement.
Yeah, talk to the group.
I have no clue, but I know I have been on that committee.
I've been on that committee.
It's a tireless.
And we
Are you
were
volunteering to be on that committee?
We were
Absolutely.
busy.
Yes, I am.
All
And we
right.
had plans.
You heard that.
Well, it looks like we have to figure out a way to start a recreation or potluck supper committee anyway.
I think a recreation committee would be
Wish
wonderful.
you could make it for lunch, I'm getting hungry.
One thing I wanted to add, and I meant to ask when we had the insurance qualification, is if we could get a statement of limitations and exclusions for our policies. Is that something the board could get? Just, we don't need the whole insurance thing, just what's limited and excluded on each policy, what coverages are. Like you did mention something the other day about asbestos and lead. If
Okay.
there's more to that,
You want the actual, you want, yeah, no, the certificate or the deck sheet is simply the summary of what's in the policy. He wants the actual policy language. And in a commercial policy, it's going to be a lot, but maybe we can select just those particular policies that we're interested in those types of things.
right, and I had commercial insurance on my vehicles until recently, and there was always at the back, one of the back pages of the thing, it had limitations and
Right.
exclusions over each coverage.
Right.
You didn't have to have the whole policy, it was just,
I don't
it just
have a
limited and
commercial-
excluded.
I don't have a commercial license and I still have.
Okay,
same
Roby,
thing.
since insurance is my background, I will work with Jody and Warren to get the actual policy document for the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next item is executive session. Do we have a motion and a vote on that?
Just make a motion, we don't executive.
Yeah, you didn't sign up, Dan.
I just have a quick, simple question. I apologize for not having signed up. But the question was asked to Mr. Baumann why he didn't want to be an HOA. And I'm just curious, just for information, just asking, why do some of you want us to be an HOA? Why do we want to be an HOA?
Well,
What's the advantage?
And I have no quarrel with either one. I'd just like to have it set out that this is what we are, and we could put it to rest and go forward, and align our bylaws and declarations with whatever form we are, and have the rule of law prove what we are. That's it.
Thank you.
I would move that we both go to executive session for personnel and foreclosures.
okay.
Do we have a second and a vote?
We don't have to.
We don't have
Just
to.
on executive session.
Do we have to do that?
We're adjourning to executive session.
Does anybody?
Adjourn to executive session at
Whether I want to or not, you're still gonna do it.
Okay, the board has decided to go to executive session over personnel and foreclosures at 11:40, 11:38.
Where's Dan? There's nothing going on.
Time to go. Yeah.
That's for Monday.